Once upon a time, Chris called Dan and said, "I'm having an idea." When Dan got over his initial shock and horror, he agreed to hear Chris out. Suddenly, a podcast was born, and somehow I was suckered into recording the intro to give them a little bit of legitimacy. And so, here we are. Welcome to the Dan and Chris Save the World podcast.
The Dan and Chris podcast has been fortified with 6 essential vitamins and minerals. Please use only as directed.
Be careful operating heavy machinery while listening to this podcast. If you are pregnant or may become pregnant, please consult a physician before listening to this podcast.
No animals were harmed in the creation of this podcast. For best results, open your mind and smile while listening. Continued use of this podcast has been known to cause hilarity in certain individuals.
Proceed at your own risk.
Yeah, because we started recording, so
there we go.
That's what happens.
And now we're recording, and we'll see what happens when we're recording.
Yeah, let's see what happens when we're recording, because you never know what can happen when we're recording.
I know.
You know, when we're recording, things happen when we're recording. So it's
if there's one regret I have about FC3 Monkey Business, is the fact that there are times we have not hit the record button fast enough. Because there are conversations we have while we're getting ourselves ready to have the conversation that are actually funnier than the conversations we've had.
Right, and then you can't reproduce it.
So, and we can't reproduce it. It's crazy. We tried a couple of times when we would lose pieces of recording or whatnot. We would try to recapture that lightning in a bottle, but it was just so difficult.
It's got to be the spur of the moment. It's got to be. So that's why I hit record before we started talking about anything, because
that's it.
You know, you never know what we might say that might be interesting. It might be all boring. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, you know what? So far, so good. The people who have talked to me about this podcast seem to be enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, we're just talking about life, the universe, everything.
It was interesting to me because somebody did say that they were like, "Well, I want to get to know you and Dan better." And I'm like, "Have you been listening to the podcast?" And they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Well, that's pretty much everything. We haven't really haven't edited or."
There's more, but yeah. I mean,
but wait, there's more.
We're not editing. We're not filtering much. You know, maybe a little bit here and there. You know,
tiny bit.
But yeah, I mean, we're just us talking about us things and stuff that interest us and us. And it's about us.
And along the way, we're trying to impart wisdom of the things that we've learned over the past 50 years.
To help save the world.
Exactly. We're just hoping that something we say clicks and resonates with people.
Yes.
And if you can, kind of connect with that, then there's the victory.
Then great. Yeah. I mean, that's a bonus.
You know, if we can help you and figure something out, or if you can relate to that, I mean, like, hey, these guys have been through it, and they're maybe emotionally twisted, but not, scarred forever kind of thing, If
they can relate to us, should we be worried about them?
Probably. Poor souls.
I just thought about that.
Those poor unfortunate souls.
Yeah.
So guess what?
What?
My mom is downstairs right now. She's watching a movie on Netflix and relaxing with a glass
Hi,
of
Mom. What movie is she watching?
They're watching the Chicago 7, the Trial of the Chicago 7 by Aaron Sorkin from Aaron Sorkin wrote The West Wing.
Okay.
But it came out about a year ago and it had some great accolades, and they're enjoying themselves down there.
Well, good. That's good. So, excellent.
The power went out at her house, and I'm like, I'm not going to let you sit in the house, on a 94-degree day with this humid. I'm like, come on over. I'm fully, everything's running over here.
Yep.
Come have a nice glass of wine.
Chris, where'd you go? You jinxed yourself. Yeah.
I wouldn't have doubted it.
Yeah.
Actually, I was having an issue today because my first floor because I have window unit air conditioners throughout my house.
Yes.
And the first floor one is in the dining room, and then each of the bedrooms has one of its own. But apparently you can't run the dining room main first floor air conditioner at full steam on a 90-degree day and do laundry in the basement at the same time.
Okay.
They're all in the same circuit.
Yes.
So it was knocking it out, and I couldn't figure that out right away. And I'm like, I guess I'll just have to stop the laundry.
Well, but it was the air conditioner. Yeah, it was just, they share a circuit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This house is wired weird. I'll tell you that.
Well, it's an old house. I mean, what year is your house? What year is it?
It's 1910.
Yeah, so it's
a 111-year-old house.
So, like the electricity, I'm sure, definitely could have gotten kind of weird over the years.
It doesn't look a day over 35.
Well, that's good.
I figure if I say nice things to it, it'll hold together for me.
Good house. Oh, good.
Oh, it is a good house.
It's a good house.
It knows I've been trying to take care of it. I mean, hell, I've done so much just in the 3 years I've been here now.
Yeah, 3 years. Seems
Three in August.
In some ways, it seems like you just moved in. In some ways, it seems like you've been there for a long time.
I know. It does feel like that, doesn't it? It's kind of weird how time does
old.
weird things when you're our age.
I know. It's so
my boss and I were talking about this just today because he was talking about how his grandsons, and he has this one granddaughter that doesn't see that often because she lives out of town.
Mm-hmm.
And here's your phrase for the day. You judge time based on the children.
Okay.
Right? When you are a child, you don't notice it. You know,
right.
When you're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, you feel like I've been here forever, you know, but then you grow up and you age and you become a young adult and you work your way through, and time starts to kind of pick up speed. And then your friends start having kids, or you start having kids. You know, you and I started later than a lot of our high school people did. But you know, you at one point, Caleb Butcher was this little tiny toe-headed blonde thing, and
holding him as a newborn baby.
Yep, you could hold him in one arm. And now Caleb is what, 25, 26?
I don't know, but then then you go to the next level. Jason's
son Corey is what, 30?
31, I think is.
Oh my God!
You know, so it's like, and I'm pictures of holding him as a baby too. You know,
yeah.
And these kids are all grown up and adults and living on their own. And
my younger child has graduated from high school. My older child is talking about getting an apartment of her own with her boyfriend.
Wow, it's getting serious here.
It's
they've been together for a while, haven't they?
They've been together for a little over a year now.
Okay,
actually, almost a year and a half at this point. Yes, a year and a half, because Jules was saying something about their 18 months
before the pandemic.
Yeah, so they've been together for 18 months. And quite honestly, I do believe Josh is probably going to be my son-in-law one of these days.
Yeah,
and I don't mind. I like the kid.
Yeah,
he's focused. He's driven. He's got plans. You know, he's got a good job now, and that job is going to help him pay for college.
That's good,
right?
Yeah. Okay,
or at least 80% of his tuition. He was telling me.
Yeah,
and it was so cool. I was talking to the kids and trying to be parental, right? And because I'm trying to impress upon Juliana don't just exist, to have that plan. You know, and start trying to figure out what you want to do going forward, because you're not going to be a hostess at the Texas Roadhouse all your life, right?
Probably not, no.
And I I kind of hinted at something, and Josh looked at me and goes, "I'm going to be a doctor," and the certainty that he said it with was so impressive to me.
Good for him.
I mean, I've liked the kid since I first met him. He can be a little weird at times. He can be a little aggressive with certain people, but you know what? That's just who he is. I don't care. You know, I can look past that, and I can see what he does and what he says and the gestures that he makes, and the guy that he is and the man he's becoming, and I'm cool with it. Yeah. You know, but just
good.
It's wild to see, and so you judge time by the children. You know, and our children were little. I mean, yours are still small, relatively speaking.
11 and 9, yeah.
But mine haven't been that size for a long time now. I have two young
Zach's
adults.
Inching up on almost as tall as Jen now.
Is he really?
I bug her about it all the time. Look, Zach's almost taller than you. You know, it's like, he's 11, and he's, for some reason, he's got some height. I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I don't know where he gets it from.
We got the beanpole height there.
He gets it from your mom.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what Ian would tell people all the time. I get it from my grandmother. My poor little 5'2" mother.
Yeah,
I love her so
we
much.
Love your mom.
She's amazing.
But yeah, so it's they grow. They grow fast in some ways.
Yeah, they do.
If you don't pay attention, like life will pass you by. They'll pass you by.
Yeah, they do. But my son is starting lifeguard training courses next week.
Oh, good.
And he's going to be a lifeguard with his best friend Matthew.
How does trip go, by the way?
It did not.
Oh, it didn't happen?
It did not happen. Let me tell you, we were talking about the growth of children. Okay, my son, he goes with the flow sometimes, even when it hurts him. And now for 11 months, he has had this wonderful online relationship with this young lady from Kentucky. And then the big exciting thing, she came up to be there for his graduation, and she was going to stay the whole week. And then by the end of the week, they were going to travel down to Kentucky together, and he was going to spend the week with her. So she came up on a Saturday night. She came up late. It was like 11 o'clock Saturday night is when her flight arrived.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the first place he comes was here, so he could introduce her to me before he took her home to Mom's house where everybody was going to be camping for the week.
Right.
Because he lives with his mother mainly for the most part because she's closer to his school. All right. And she was very sweet. She made a wonderful first impression on me, but I also got the impression she was exhausted because she'd had she'd been away from home for a month at that point.
Oh, really?
She'd been traveling to visit people. She'd been traveling to see colleges. So going to visit Ian was kind of like the tail end of this long month away from home.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then, so Sunday they had some stuff going on, and then Monday was graduation.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was already starting to get reports from the field that she was not making a good first impression on several of the people here on the home front.
Oh.
Right? Just her mannerisms and the way she talked to people and the way she would address him and things like that. It was like setting some folks off. He wouldn't say anything. He was just happy to be around her, and I respected that. I wasn't going to do anything. I'd known the girl for maybe 3 minutes tops.
Right.
I'm not going to make judgment calls off of that. But Jules had some concerns, and Eric had expressed some concerns, and then by the time we got to the graduation ceremony that Monday, and then it went quickly because they blocked it up, so it was nine students at a time in a 20-minute block.
Okay,
and then we went to Red Robin, and it was great. And did I tell you the story about how his 5th and 6th grade teacher, how she came to visit?
That's awesome.
Oh my God, that was such a wonderful moment for him, and he had such a blast with that. But so, she was sitting on the far end of the table from me, so I was not watching her, but other people were watching her, and they're like, "Who is this girl?" And then apparently Tuesday there was a big thing at Erica and Tom's house, where they were celebrating their Tom's daughter Cecily's birthday. And so they had friends over, and there was a pool party of things going on, and they were, doing something. Wednesday, I'm going to fast forward to the day it started happening.
Okay.
Wednesday, after she had arrived, so 2 days before he leaves for Kentucky, he calls me up when I'm on lunch break, and he is not so much panicking, but he is confused and upset and needed his dad.
Oh.
And he's like, "Dad, she's not who I thought she was. She's nice, but we're not gelling. We're not clicking. Things are not working here." And she goes, and he goes, "And I don't think she sees it. She's just going about her business and not realizing just how she's upsetting me." Okay. And I'm trying to talk to her, and she's not listening, and I don't want to be angry and rude with her because it's not fair. He goes, "But I got to take her out to lunch now. We're supposed to have this big date day. We're going to have this whole day to ourselves." And he goes, "And I don't want to. I don't know what to." I goes, and then I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm thinking cold feet. Is there something happening? Right. I'm trying to kind of talk him down off the ledge just to calm him down a little bit. And then he just outright says, "I don't want to go to Kentucky."
Wow.
I'm like, okay. So for him to pull the ripcord on something like that, something that he has been looking forward to for months.
Right. That's big.
Something that had been planned for like a couple of months at this point. That I just sat down at that point. That stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, okay, I got to listen to this kid. I have to hear him at this point. And I coached him through it a little bit. I gave him some advice. I said, okay, well, the only way out of this right now is being honest. So you're not going to make some shit up. You're not going to try to
best way.
You're not going to try to maneuver your way past this.
Yep, keep it honest.
You're going to have to ask her. You need information, is what I told him. I said, you need information. You need to understand, and then you need to be honest with her. You need to ask her questions. Is she thinking things are okay? Is she understanding that there's an issue here? Does she feel the same way? If she doesn't, then you really have to say, look, I have, and he goes, okay. Well, I'm going to try. And I'm like, I go, what are you doing? He goes, well, we're going to pick her up and I'm going to take her to lunch. We're going to go to Aladdin's on Monroe. Cool. Okay, great. Order this, order that. And he goes, well, what happens if this or this and this? I'm like, okay, look, don't overplan. Don't overthink. But if sometime along the line during lunch, this comes up and it blows up in your face, just quietly look to the waiter, ask for to-go boxes, pack everything up, and head out. I said, you can be reasonably assured that she's not going to leave the restaurant and go walking somewhere because it's a long haul to Kentucky.
Right. And she doesn't know the city.
Yes. And she's not stupid. She may be attitude-wise not what you were expecting, but the girl's not dumb. She's a good student. She's being accepted into really interesting programs. So I know that she has a high degree of intelligence. She's not going to do the math and go try to walk to Kentucky. You know? He goes, all right. And so I go back to work, and I'm halfway through an inspection when he tries calling me twice.
Okay.
And then Erica starts calling me almost immediately.
Oh, geez.
Once, twice, thrice. And I'm like, uh-oh, something happened. So as soon as I got out of the inspection, I called Erica first, and she told me this is what's going on. And then I called Ian. I'm like, okay, are you okay? He goes, yeah, I'm upset. He goes, I didn't know how to. He goes, I'm not you yet. I didn't. And I told him at 18 years old, dude, you're not going to be for a while yet. I said,
if you know us at 18, boy, you know.
Yeah. I said,
going on at 18.
I learned how to talk to people through trial and error. A lot of error.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. You know, a ton of error. I said, so, you know, don't worry about it. But apparently he just blurted it out. He goes, this isn't working. I'm not happy with this relationship after all in the face-to-face venue. And she was understandably upset.
Mm-hmm.
And by the time they got back to Erica's house, this young lady's mother had already arranged to have the flight up to that afternoon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And then by the time I got to Erica's house after work, I dropped off Ian's buddy Matthew so that he can be there for his brother, kind of a thing. You know, like it would be like my mom dropping me off at your house to spend time with you, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
By the time I got there, Tom had already taken the young lady to the airport so she could get ready for her flight and take off. So it was done in hours. After he talked to her, it was over and she was on her way back home.
Wow. Yeah.
And, you know, and he does feel bad because he knows he hurt her feelings and he does not like that. But I told him, I said, look, you're going to want to be honest with her rather than string her along and then end up going to Kentucky when you don't feel comfortable with that.
What
if you make choices?
If you can't have those honest conversations,
right?
You know, if it's you got to have those because it's something we've learned, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, the hard way several times.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but he's like, yeah, I'm like, what if you make relationship choices with this young lady and you're not happy? You know, I mean, you got to be careful. You got to be, you know, reasonable, and you got to be honest. And it worked out. You know, he's. I wouldn't say he's over it, but he's definitely looking at it in a better light.
Yeah, he's getting ready to move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think he misses having that person in his life, but he also has several really good friends that he's been spending time with,
and he's young.
He's young. He'll figure things out. The kid is smart as hell.
I mean, this was this his longest relationship?
This was his only relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, this was his first and longest.
Yeah. So that's even harder because I remember my first.
Right.
And my first, I was 16 at Aquinas.
And my first, I was 16 at Aquinas as well. Remember, the junior prom was the ultimate relationship.
Yeah,
the junior prom for our class was the bloodbath of our entire friends group.
Yeah, it was horrible. Everyone who was going out with anybody, and then he said in our group, they didn't last past the prom, or didn't last far past the prom.
I got you all beat. Tara broke up with me a week before the prom.
Oh, nice.
She says, I wanted to be up front with you right now. And she goes, and if you want to find another date for the prom, I won't fault you. And I'm like, no, let's go. We've invested in everything. We'll go together. It'll be fine. And it was all right. We were entertained and amused, but it was hard. It was hard to know that, you know, when I gave her a hug, when we got out of the limo when I took her home that night, that was it. That was the end of that relationship.
Yeah.
You know, and that hurt for a while, for a few months.
I don't remember how soon after mine broke up, but
it wasn't much longer.
It wasn't much longer. I mean, that was pretty much, for some reason, that the prom was the...
Jason, you, me, Huber, I think we were all single within probably like, at very least at the outside 3 weeks past the prom.
It was pretty quick for whatever reason.
The prom, like I said, the prom was a bloodbath for our social circle. It was horrible, but we survived.
It was a learning experience. You know, it's that first relationship, and you break up, and it's all part of being able to survive and get on and deal with people. And yeah, there's stuff I wish I would have done differently, but
oh God, I know the what if game.
Right.
We're so good at playing it, you know.
Of course, I still love how I got how I started dating. Me and Rudy went to a Nazareth dance.
Oh Jesus! Is that how you found her?
Go to a dance at an all-girls school. Boy, That's how I got my first girlfriend there. Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I don't remember right now how long it lasted for, but it lasted obviously till prom. But yeah, and she had the exact same. She was born on the exact same day as me.
Oh wow,
I
that's
was
right. I
like,
remember that now.
I was like a few hours older than her. And but yeah, it was
Look at you going after younger women.
yeah. Those few hours there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just bizarre. Going there, who never dated, going to a dance at an all girls school and being asked to dance, and
Mm-hmm.
there was a couple options there, and so I ended up with that one for a while for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And it was good it was a good experience for a while. It was good, and it was, but it was, yeah,
Here's
prom.
how I know that you and I are excellent human beings. Our relationship history is fraught with danger. It's just fraught with miscues and
Oh my
mistakes and
gosh.
things that we would love to take back but can't. And we've also met several really cool people along the way.
We have. It's been there's like everything. There's ups and downs. As long as we learn something from it, I think,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
there's always things you wish would have done differently or something. But I mean, yeah, I mean, it was an interesting time.
Interesting time is a way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean,
That's definitely a way to describe it.
life is interesting. I mean, we didn't end up with, married to the first girl that we kind of dated, like some
Mm.
people and everything. But but we're here.
And I'm glad I'm not. And I don't want to disparage the person who I first really thought I was going to be spending the rest of my life with. I mean, she's happy and I'm
Mhm.
happy, and we're distant friends at this point. We catch up with each other on Facebook once in a while,
Mhm.
and she has on her second marriage, I believe, if I
Mhm.
remember correctly. Yeah, because she had a different second last name when I ran into her on Facebook again. And
Yeah,
everybody's where they're supposed to be to a degree, I suppose.
we are where we are. I mean, it's really,
We are. We are.
I don't get that whole where they're supposed to be or anything, but we are.
Yeah,
This is where we are right now. I mean,
that's it.
I don't
That's a better
believe
way
it.
of
There's
that's a
no
better way of saying
there's
it.
no
Yeah.
destiny or stuff like that. It's just this is where we are at this point, and that we can't change what happened. I mean, it's gotta, this is where we are.
Hmm.
We have to accept it and be able to and go forward, because we can't go backwards, so we can't stay still.
Boldly going forward because we can find reverse.
Reverse. That's right.
Oh man.
Oh, woman.
Oh my.
So
We're in the
yeah,
midst of a brutal heat wave here in Rochester at the moment.
yep. In the 90s, anyways. It looks like it's clouding up here now.
Yeah, and a lot of humidity too. I've been happy to be inside with air conditioning most of the day today.
Yeah, it's supposed to break a little by tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Down to 80 or only high of 80 or so.
It's going to progress down to more normal
Then
kind of
74,
summer
and then
temperatures.
yeah, then Friday and Saturday 70 degrees.
Yeah.
Then back up in the 80s next week.
Yeah, well, that's
You know,
that's the J months for you. June,
variety is
July.
the spice of life.
Not the same old thing every day.
Every day,
Variety.
variety. I'm getting sick of it. Oh yeah.
How are you feeling?
So today was I just before this we started recording, I took my last chemo dose. So my 4 little orange pills, 500 milligrams, whatever each, I took those. So I am not feeling the best right now.
I can imagine.
It's been a struggle for the past few days working and everything, and it's probably going to be next couple of days probably going to be about the same, because it takes a couple of days to start wearing off. But but I got through it. I'm getting through it, and I've been pushing forward as much as I can, because that's what I got to move forward.
You're doing it.
I just said. So I'm done with chemo.
Mm-hmm.
So
congratulations, brother.
Hopefully forever, but at least for now.
Yeah.
Because you never know with cancer what's going to happen, because it might rear its ugly head again sometime in the future. But that's why I was taking this chemo, so reduce the chances of that happening.
Right.
So but the only guarantee we have is someday we're going to die.
Huh.
Yeah.
Thanks for that encouraging
I
public
did.
service announcement.
Yeah, I mean, I like to bring things up, I like to bring the positivity here, that's me. But no, so I'm, overall, I mean, I'm about feeling what I expected to feel, because that's about, because the last time, the last rounders, I was definitely feeling the same kind of thing. So
Uh-huh.
it's nothing unexpected, but I am happy to be done, and so that I can get on to my next step, which I meet with a surgeon in a couple weeks, few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks, um, 3 weeks from today, I think, and then figure out my next steps. Hopefully, get my ileostomy reversed and get rid of this bag I have on my waist all the time.
Oh, that must be a relief.
Get rid of my little nub that sticks out from my stomach,
Ugh.
which is a weird thing to see. It's not like a third nipple because it's huge. It's, compared to a nipple, it's huge. Let me put it that way. But it's this big red thing sticking out of your stomach, and so it's in the wrong place for a nipple too. So
Uh-huh.
it's no confusion there. It's not like like in was Friends, he had his nubbin or whatever. He had his third nipple, his nubbin. Yeah, nothing
Jesus.
like that. But and kind of like, well, actually kind of like a nipple if you're a pregnant woman.
Oh, gee. This is
No,
weird.
if you're like a woman who just had a child, like a nipple like that, it spews stuff of stuff. Stuff comes out of it. So it's I won't miss that.
No,
But
can
because
imagine.
I have to change the bag every couple of weeks. So every couple of
Uh-huh.
days, couple times a week, not every couple of times a week I change it.
Uh-huh.
So that's where otherwise it's just hidden underneath the little bag there. But and sometimes it's it decides to spew out stuff as I'm changing it, which is always but it's just weird. But I'm used to it. I don't love it. Why would I love it?
I couldn't even imagine why you would.
No, but it's. I mean, there's a couple kind of interesting things about it. Being able to poo standing up kind of thing, and it's it's the strange thing, because when camping, beginning of June there, and all we had was an outhouse there, kind of thing, a real outhouse with a
Right.
hole in the ground, so I didn't have to like sit on the seat to poo. I could just put my bag over the hole and just open it up and so it was there's pluses to it, I guess,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
but not that many pluses. That's how many pluses that I want to keep it.
Yeah. Well, it has served its purpose,
Yes, and that's
and it's part of an equation,
right.
and there's hopefully going to be a good solution to the equation coming up soon.
Yeah, and so it's
You
going to
know?
be, it'll be my pooing experience will be different from what from what I'm told because
Right.
of this and everything. But we'll see what happens when that happens. Hopefully, in another month and a half or 2 months, I can get that done.
Okay.
So yeah, that's me right now.
Madonna mia, dude.
Yeah, so it's an adventure. I don't recommend it.
No. No.
It's not don't go out. I might joke about it, but I don't recommend it. 2 thumbs down. Don't
Do not recommend 0 out of 10 on Yelp.
right. So but it's the fact. But I am lucky that I got it early enough where it's not any worse than it is.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could have gotten it earlier, but like I said, like we said earlier, we can't go backwards. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I've learned to. I'm living with what we have. I'm dealing with what I have. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's it.
And you know what? We've talked about this on several occasions, and I'm sure we'll talk about it again on several occasions, on how open you've been about this journey. Doing the TikToks and the Facebook posts, giving people updates, and you shared a couple of stories with me about how that's resonated with other people.
Mm-hmm.
You shared your journey, and that helped them.
Yeah.
And that's amazing. I mean, so we're finding tons of positives in this terribly negative situation.
And nothing that I planned on, of course. It just came across that when I got that, when I first heard that you have cancer. I didn't actually hear the first time because I was just coming out from my colonoscopy and I was still, I wasn't there, but I didn't really hear it at that point. Even though they said it, but I had the picture. It's a nice picture of my cancer there. It's really it's pretty picture. But yeah, I mean, when you first heard that, I was like, okay, well, what do I do?
Yeah.
How do I tell people this, or do I tell people this? And if I do, how do I tell them this? And so like I said, I think I might have probably said this before. I've made the decision. I'm just going to tell everybody. So I told my closest friends first, and then told people I work with, and then I think the same day that's when I posted on Facebook and just told everyone else.
Yeah.
This is me. This is what I'm going through, and so good stuff. But it's helped. I mean, it's a different journey for everybody.
Right.
I know somebody who knows somebody that was diagnosed really recently with stage 4, and they've already passed away.
Wow.
And it's cancer is scary.
Yeah,
so and so all things considered, I consider myself lucky. My mom just got off, a year and a half of chemo. I went through 16 weeks. She's gone through, a year and a half of it because hers had spread. But I think she's clear now.
Well, that's great.
She's on some medicine, that's at least probably for the next few years at least, just to kind of keep things happy kind of thing. But it's there's a lot more people than I ever knew had cancer. Tell me, I had cancer, or I had this. It's like, oh wow, I had no idea, because and that's why I figured I'm gonna just tell them, and this is what I'm going through. This is what it's like. This was like for me to have cancer, because, like I said, everybody's different, but for me, this was my experience. So, and I chronicled it on Facebook. That was the easiest for me to write it out. I did a few TikToks here and there, but it was easier to write out what I was thinking versus trying to fit into a minute video on TikTok or something like that or whatever. So
what's going to be interesting is years down the road, 3, 4, 5 years down the road, when Facebook memories pop up and remind you that 5 years ago this day you posted this. And it'll be interesting to be able to, like, in a retrospective, looking back at it and seeing how you feel. If you were officially a cancer survivor at that point. You're saying the 5-year mark is when they declare it or something like that.
Yeah, that's when they a sign of it in 5 years, and they say
but being able to review that journey and how it's affected your life, and you'll be able to look at it through the lens of a couple of years of down the road.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I did a little bit with my dad was going through, not a lot. It was because it wasn't my journey for him, but it was his ALS. He was the one who was ALS, but I had a few posts here and there about what I was going through. How do I think a lot of it was more the aftermath of it versus during. But that was his journey. But he couldn't tell his story, especially after a while. For a while he could, and then when he got to the later stages, he couldn't talk. He could barely. It was so hard. Communicating was so hard. And then but when you say Facebook memories, I recently a memory of our I pictures I put videos of our barn being torn down, and the barn was that happened after we cleared out the house I grew up in. The house was totally empty. The barn still had some stuff in it, and then watching the barn get torn down kind of brought back a lot of stuff again, because that was like the last piece. That was my dad always talked about the barn. He always had these big plans for the barn, which of course he never did. I'm gonna get fix this up and do this, and my dad had a lot of plans.
It was a huge space.
Yeah, I mean it was a huge space,
massive building.
It was an old barn. It had the old hand hewn woods, the wooden pegs holding it, and that thing didn't want to go down. That thing fought.
I mean, it was staying up out of force of habit and willpower. I mean, there was corners of it that were just completely shedded off. But when the excavator went after it, it was up for a fight.
It was he was digging into the roof, and it was not going until he finally dug enough of it out that they had no choice.
Yeah,
gravity finally
gravity's
took over.
going to win.
But the barn itself was just it fought. It was crazy. You know, he knocked down a lot of it, and there was this one section on the first floor in the back which was still standing there, kind of even if the top collapsed on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
So they built things back then. Like you said, the foundation was gone out of one corner of it totally.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it lasted as long as it did in some ways, but watching that get torn down was kind of like, okay, it's really, everything's really gone. All the stuff, the house was empty. All the stuff that was left in the barn, there's a lot of, was gone, and it was like that, and that was kind of the end of it for me. So it was kind of weird.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So that was Facebook memories. Yeah. So they're good and bad to those. But
yeah.
But there's good. I mean, like every year, the picture we took at Mary Kay's wake there was, comes up. That there's this, and this is that was such a sad thing that when she passed, and that was so unexpected and so sad. And she was getting married, and that was. But all right, memories.
Well, memories are the building blocks of who we are.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's not dance around that. That's one of the lessons for today is memory. Don't be afraid of memories, even if they're bad memories.
I'm dancing, Chris. I'm dancing around it.
Yes, I can see that. That's the thing about Zencasters. I actually have a video connection to you. And
the worst thing about my podcast, you guys can't see me, so that's probably good.
Dan has a we'll call it a legendary dancing style.
I guess you can call it dancing. I don't know. I move. I move to the music. I don't know if it's really dancing or not, but
we're gonna groove. We're gonna groove one of these days. It's gonna happen.
I did take dance lessons. I took tap and jazz lessons.
Yeah, and you were in the Follies. I've seen you move.
I was in the Follies somehow. I still don't know how that happened. That was an accident. I was in the Follies first. I was the sound and lights guy, and somehow I ended up on stage after a while.
Mm-hmm. Well, like I said, that particular group that ran the Follies at that time,
I loved them.
They were really they were wonderful people and very, very talented, but they were a little too prone to sight gags. They were not good at comic relief. They were into sight gags.
You didn't like the sight gag. You didn't like the putting.
I didn't like being a part of the sight gags. No, because I felt it was a waste of an opportunity of a waste of talent, for lack of a less egotistical way of saying it.
Hey, I got a French maid outfit, so
Yeah, I know.
Everybody ought to have a maid.
The crowd had fun, and that's all that matters. That's my final take on that.
That's all I got to say about that.
That's all I got to say about that. Memories.
But yeah.
Don't be afraid of memories, people.
No, memories are...
Some of them are going to be good, and some are not going to be good. But you know what? They are the building blocks of who you are. And if you can remember the bad memories and learn from them, then you can build good memories on top of that foundation. And you can be like, hey, look what I can do now. Don't be afraid of memories.
No, you are your memories. That's your consciousness. If your mind get wiped, then you'd be someone completely different.
Now, there's some folks out there who have some things that they've experienced that they would like to forget, and I completely respect that because there's been some horrific things that have happened to people. And it's unfortunate. And if you can take that pain away, I would love to. You just hope that you can, if you do have those memories, that you can take them and build from that and find some solace, find some happiness down the road, based on that. Try to turn it around a little bit. But
is it a case of forgetting them or accepting that they're part of your history?
Probably accepting. Acceptance tends to be the key to a lot of things I've noticed.
It's not, you don't have to like it.
Yes.
You don't have, but you have to accept that it's something that you went through, and like you were saying, learn from it, and you can maybe hide it away in a corner of your stuff, and you don't have to live it. Think about it every day, but everything is part of what you are, what makes you up, what your decisions. I mean, I can remember some key moments from growing up that, if I hadn't gone through those, I'd be doing stuff differently. This one, I don't remember the exact situation. I don't remember who was there. I don't remember where we were, but I remember being with this group of kids. I don't remember what year it was or anything, but I remember being with this group of kids, and we had this metal rod or something, piece of metal.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember we're kids, we're throwing it up in the air, see how high we can get it up in the air.
Uh-oh.
So, and then of course it ended up hitting this girl in the face. And I don't remember, she didn't die or anything like that, but I just remember her crying. I remember blood going down her face. I don't remember what she looked like, but I remember, this piece of metal being thrown up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember who threw who threw it that time. I just remember and just thinking about, actions have consequence.
Yes.
And just learning that lesson from that, and that always sticks in my memory. Not always consciously, but but it pops in every so often that what you do has consequence. You might not foresee it. I mean, we didn't foresee this thing landing on this girl's head or whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure she must have been fine. I mean, eventually you probably got stitches, I'm sure, because it seemed like in my memory there's a lot of blood, but I don't remember how much there was. But but it's just.
Well, how old were you at the time?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I remember the situation, but I don't remember the details of it.
Mm-hmm.
But actions have consequence. That's a lesson I learned. And I
Mm-hmm.
did that because kids, you don't always get that.
Right.
Especially
They don't learn that one until it's too late.
right, and it was. Yeah, I'm sure that I don't remember where I don't remember much about it except for that. And there's other memories like that they're not always good. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. But
Mm-hmm.
actions have consequence. That's one
Yes,
of them.
they do. It's a good lesson.
Yeah.
Good lesson, good memory to have. If you're gonna build off of it.
Should that be one of our lessons in the Church of the Wandering Dude?
Like have we discovered the third commandment?
Maybe, I don't know. Do we need a third commandment, or is that just more like
I think this would fit under the first commandment. Don't be a dick. Actions have consequences.
Yeah, we have to something more. You can't use dick all the time. We got to use something else that's more, that's more publicly acceptable, kind of thing.
We'll make. I can't believe I'm going to say this sentence right now. We'll make dick publicly acceptable.
Oh, jeez. Some people might be happy about that, but for various reasons.
Oh,
but,
I know.
But don't be a jerk, or don't be a
doofus.
Don't be a doofus. Doofus kind of fits in with the dude thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, actions have consequence. Don't be a doofus.
We can say it's Dan's first letter to, what is it? Paul's first letter to the Corinthians. Dan's first letter to the Rockettes. To the Rockettes. Write a letter to the Rockettes. Who knows? I don't know.
I met a Rockette once.
Did you really?
I went to the backstage tour at Radio City Music Hall.
Okay.
During one of my New York City trips, and part of it was get to meet a Rockette and stuff. So it was cool. It was only thing oh no, it wasn't that. It was Carnegie Hall. That was a show going on. No,
Mm-hmm.
it was really interesting learning about Radio City Music Hall. But actions have consequence. Don't be a doofus. Or the more vernacular, don't be a dick.
Yep.
So both work. Both start with D.
We'll start with D.
Yeah.
This is going to spiral. You know that, right? It's going to spiral completely out of our own control.
We're trying. As long as it does it in the good way.
Yep. As long as it does it in a positive fashion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
As we learn together.
Right. Keep an open mind.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
run out of things to talk about, have we? It happens from time to time. It's
no,
okay.
we didn't run out. I think we just needed a
quick moment to sigh and breathe,
because we talked about some heavy stuff here.
Yes, we did. We I think that's interesting how you and I and that's the comfort level you and I have with each other.
Mm-hmm.
After 36 years of being friends, we can talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Mm-hmm.
And
We've had a lot of ugly over the years.
oh yeah, we have.
Uh-huh.
And be honest about it, and just kind
We've
of
had a
like,
lot of good and bad, a lot of good too, though. So
it was funny the other day. I was having a rough day, and I was just really upset, and I had this inkling to call you and say, I need a therapy session. Let's record a podcast. Right. And I was actually going to call you, and I can't remember what prevented me from, something happened, and it distracted me from it. And I had something I had to do, probably for one of the kids. I don't remember. But at one point I'm like, I need a therapy session. I'm calling Dan. We're recording a podcast today.
Hey, whatever therapy works, right?
As long as you're talking about it. I think that's the big thing is there are things that we are still afraid to talk about. There are things that have a stigma. There are things that, that just we're not comfortable, being open about. And I'm not saying, if you want to keep something private, that's your business. Keep it private. Obviously, we don't want to force you into talking about something that you don't want to.
If you're not ready for it, yeah.
Or if you're under the impression it's none of your damn business, Chris and Dan.
Right.
No, this is my stuff. I'm okay with it. I'm accepting, but this is what I want to keep for myself. You don't need to know it.
Right.
Well, I respect that. All right. But the thing that we've talked about, or we as a people, have talked about in American healthcare, is how there is this vast stigma about mental health. Oh, he's crazy. Well, just medicate him and stash him somewhere so we don't have to look at him. Or she's got to be mental. She's had a mental breakdown. Well, whatever, as long as we don't have to deal with it. And it's those responses that have created this stigma over the decades, centuries, whatever, that we don't talk about the things we should talk about.
Right.
You and I are more comfortable talking to each other, and we just happen to be recording our conversations and sharing them with people.
Right.
But I'm talking to you about stuff that's important to me. You're talking to me stuff important to you. The more we're open about our mental health, the easier it will be for other people. There's a domino effect, and when other people see that, and this is why people tell celebrities to shut up all the time, typically when you don't agree with them. Right.
That's what you tell everybody. Yeah.
But here's the thing is there are celebrities out there who have been honest about their journeys, mental health, physical health, whatever the case may be, divorce, relationships, whatever. And people hear that these celebrities have a platform and they're trying to use it in a constructive fashion. They're trying to help, if you don't agree with their political statement, oh, well, then don't listen to it,
right.
But they have an opportunity because people have given them that opportunity.
Hearing stories from the child stars, all these people, does this, that you think they must have it easy. They make then these hit shows they're making money, they're doing this, but you don't, I mean, we're hearing a lot more about these, these journeys these child stars went through, and I guess it's amazing. Some of them turned out okay. It seems, versus, they had a privilege, but they also had those other stuff going on.
Yeah.
You can't just see what's on the outside. You have to hear, you have to listen, you have to talk about it, and you have to listen.
Yes.
Those are the two things. You have to be, and if we did more of that in this country versus just talk at people, you got to talk with people and listen to them and have them listen to you. It goes both ways.
That's the clutch, isn't it? That's the thing. Instead of talking at, listen and hear and talk with.
Yep. Boy, imagine what a kind of world we'd have if that happened.
We'd be one step closer to where we've always wanted to be. That's for sure.
That'd be just amazing. And you got to be able to be open. You can't take. Yeah, a lot of this PC stuff we have it's going the wrong way because it's shutting people up because you're afraid to talk about things. And I think that's kind of a problem. You need to be able to say things. You need to be able to discuss them. If it's something that you don't agree with, you need to be able to talk about it and not shut the person down. This is why why what you just said is a problem. Or this is why, that makes you uncomfortable. This is why. So you can hope. And if you listen to what that person's saying, why it's uncomfortable, then okay. And I mean, I'm learning so much these days about with everybody opening up and all the, the Black Lives Matter, all this and that, and all the,
everything. When I went to Genesee Country Museum a couple weekends ago, and it was on June 19th. So there's a Juneteenth celebration, and they had a lot of people talking, being in character as the slaves of the time and stuff like that, and hearing their stories as the slaves, and it's like, wow, okay, I didn't know that kind of thing, and just hearing it more from almost a firsthand perspective type of thing. It was very eye-opening, and there's so much eye-opening stuff that.
And that's the thing is, unfortunately, to that, there are not as many people having their eyes opened as there should be.
Yeah, right.
I mean, I'm grateful that we are able to listen. I'm grateful that my heart's open enough that if somebody explains something to me, whether I understand it or not, I'm at least able to listen and say, okay, I want to do better. I want to understand. I want to help you. But there's so many people out there yet who, if they're told, well, I don't like that, I'm not comfortable, you're hurting my feelings, and the person's response is, I don't care. Suck it up.
Yeah.
And it's, oh, okay, really? Those people exist, and it's not that they're rare. It's not even that they're rare.
There's too many of them.
There's such a large population of people who just don't give a shit about anybody else. It's as long as I've got mine, I don't care.
Not one part of it's not party thing, it's people thing. And party things. I was watching a Republican talk about something this morning, and I was listening. I'm not, I didn't agree with what he said, but I was listening, trying to hear trying to hear his message, what he was trying to say. And, and again, I don't 100% disagree with the Republicans. I don't 100% agree with Democrats. I don't, I'm in the middle there, and there
are some foundational domestic financial policy that I agree with both sides. There's some stuff from one side that I like, and some other side I like.
Right.
It's when you get into this aspect of, well, I don't agree with a thing, so nobody should have it, or I'm told that I can't do a thing, so nobody should have access to this thing.
Or we're not going to move on this issue here. We're not, this is in stone. We're not doing this no matter what.
Right.
I'm not going to let this go past me because it's you, and I'm not going to budge on this. There's no compromise.
You brought it up, not me. It wasn't my idea. It was your idea. Therefore, I'm against it. If I'd had the idea, then I would have been all for it.
Yeah.
But you had the idea, and I'm against you. So people are getting hurt because kindergartners and toddlers are running the government at the moment. I'm going to take my toys and go home. Screw you.
What they were talking about this morning was about, doing Republicans want to look more into the Wuhan thing, where the origin of the coronavirus there.
Okay, great.
But they don't want to look into the origins of, what happened on January 6th.
No, not at all.
They want to know. It's that they're not consistent with their stuff. So that stuff bothers me, and it's this is going to benefit me because so and so said all this stuff before, so I'm sticking with him because I'm a blind follower here.
Yep.
And I'm going to do what he said, but I don't want to.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's
no way to live.
They're not listening to each other. They're not listening. They're not trying to compromise. They're not trying to work together. They're trying to just get their agenda. And we talked about it before. We got term limits. If we had term limits, that'd make things better, maybe.
But you had to do a whole list of things before you put the term limits in.
Yeah, and to get that is a long and painful journey. And who knows if we'll ever see that.
I don't think so, but you can be hopeful. You can work towards it.
Right.
You can try to inspire people. Hi, Jen.
Yeah. He says hi. But yeah. It's just for us. But
anyway.
Yeah, so it's I don't know. Hopefully at least we can get some sort of stuff in our world.
I would like to see sanity fully restored. I think we're heading in the right direction, you know, but there's still so many obstacles at the moment. There's still so many, you know.
That one person has to disappear for a while.
Oh God, yes.
I think if that person just holed up and just went golfing every day and didn't talk to anybody,
yes,
I think that would be a way to kind of move forward. But
it would be a start,
yeah,
because there's a couple of other people that need to go away as well. I can think of I think of like 10 off the top of my list from both sides of the political spectrum.
Yeah.
That if they just got out of the way and let the, other people come in and start doing
get some fresh blood in there. Yeah.
Oh, and that leads to the term limits concept, right?
Yeah, I know.
But,
that's, or people just got to vote them out. It's people's decision. People keep voting them back in.
That's the thing we keep seeing is, Congress sucks, but my guy's okay. Well, then nothing's ever going to change because I can't vote for the people out of my district.
Right.
Well, my guy's okay, but this guy sucks. Well, okay, but everybody else says the same thing.
Right. Yeah. It's that guy's doing what I want him to do, but it's not. Yeah. I don't know. I think we need a change of government.
Yep. Yep. I guarantee the founding fathers did not want this. This was not on their list of things to think about.
No.
This is we are far from the tree at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
But
at least we're saying, Chris, you and I.
Oh God, what was the quote that I remember writing it down because I laughed so hard. This was years ago. Sanity is relative, and even a poor plan, violently executed, can succeed.
Yeah.
It was usually established in Dungeons and Dragons at our table. Right. It was one of those things.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh my word. So
our church will solve all problems if we get everybody to join.
We'll solve a lot of problems, I think. Just those 2 simple commandments.
Mm-hmm.
And James Bourne, our meme lord, was over for dinner tonight, and we had and he has some great ideas, great ideas. But we were talking about various things. The Do the Thing initiative is going to be something we're going to be talking about in the future. So
I like that.
See what we can do to inspire and encourage.
And we'll get some Dudist priest.
We're almost done. And Dudist priests, yes. Church of the Wandering Dudes, Dudist priests. All right. On that happy and pious note, I'm going to let you go at this point.
Pious note, I like that.
See, there you
Dudist priest.
Dudist priests. All right, my brother. I'll talk to you later.
All right.
All right. Hey, everybody, you have a great week. Have a safe week. And we'll talk to you again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Happy trails. Just turn it off now. Turn it off now before I start singing too much.
No, sing. I'm not going to turn it off. I'm not going to turn it off.
Until we meet again. Go away. Good night, Dan.
Good night, Chris.